Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. And thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning. You choosing to be with us on Saturday morning when you have so many other things you can do, it inspires us. It inspires us to plan and offer more and more programs for the benefit of all. Today's topic is really an interesting one. The elusive thing called love. I think in the history of mankind, one of the most talked about thing is love, right? There are volumes and volumes of novels written on it, poems written on it. Before movies became popular, there were stage plays about love. There are very popular pairs throughout the history, which we even till today we talk about them, right? Romeo and Juliet, Lala Majnu, and I think in every culture and every ethnicity, there'll be more and more pairs. And I think if I want to name one more, maybe Cleopatra and Anthony, if I'm right. But the point is that there is so much talk about it. Okay? There have been wars which are fought on the name of love. The reason for that, or the belief system, is that life is worth living when there is love. Love empowers you. We want to love. We want to be loved. And we seek love. We aspire for love. But at the same time, and this is all very beautiful. We love to watch it. We love to read about it. But at the same time, when we look at it at the individual level, what I was noticing was that, this very often I hear between a parent and child, they say, don't really show your love too much to your children because it can spoil them. If you have fallen in love with someone, then you're walking on eggshells to profess that love because there is a fear of rejection. And that really puts a question in my mind that where is the empowerment? And if actually your love is reciprocated, then there is an insecurity about it that you may lose it. So there is all kinds of thoughts and belief systems and expectations about love, right? I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm more confused. It is empowering you or it is taking the power away from you. So workshop today is the aim and objective is to look at it and have an open discussion about it and come out with some thoughts and ideas and tools and methods which gives more clarity. It's offered by Dr. Rona Schweitz, whom I lovingly call Sister Rona. And I'm going to invite Sister Rona to share her thoughts from the spiritual perspective, the very famous seeked out word called love.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. We are very fortunate today because we have, for the first time since the pandemic started, we have live audience in the center. So very nice, extra special welcome. But maybe before we start, just a little bit of an outline. We will give a little bit of an introduction on a spiritual perspective on love, and so a working definition and kind of an idea of why this thing called love has become so elusive, why it escapes us even though we long for it. And there will be some reflective exercises for everyone There will be a break also at some stage, 10-minute break, and there will be possibility for discussions, and we will do a meditation also. So just to have an idea, but before we start with all that, can we maybe just have a minute of silence? And in that silence, you uh, take this theme of love. If you want to do something else, or because you have a practice of meditation, that's fine too. But if not, then reflect deeply. What is this? What is the meaning of love? What are the thoughts and the concepts and the images that come to mind when I think of love? And is it positive or is it not? Just not in a condemning way, but just for yourself to reflect. Thank you. Like Anita said already in the introduction, throughout history, there has been a fascination of humanity with this subject of love. Uh, Many, if not everyone, at some stage pursues it at a personal level. And we feel we can't really live without love. We read about it, we write about it, we listen to songs, and but at the same time, there is not necessarily the experience of love. And even if in our intimate relationships, our partner relationships or our family relationships, many of us might feel that it goes up and down and it is not a constant or even a climbing curve, the experience. And sometimes we feel it is not there at all. And there are many obligations and complications, and certain even may feel it is a bondage. So, what is happening with us? And even though this longing is there at a collective level, this striving is there, it still kind of eludes us. No matter what our background is, whichever culture, whichever religion, or no religion, or education, or social status, it doesn't seem to really matter. When you talk with people, they all have love situations or lack of love situations or complaints or So, what is going on with us? And today we are going to approach it not a bit, we're going to approach it from a spiritual perspective. But I first want to build it up. So, just bear with me and we'll go over to the whiteboard. So, I'll try to explain, put a few concepts in place. Sorry, I have to kind of. Whiteboard is visible, Anita?
Yes, Sister Rona.
One question that we need to ask ourselves first when we talk about the subject called love, um, who is it that is loving? And who is it that I am loving? Or what is it that I am loving? So, who is the one who is loving? That has to be clear first for ourselves. When I say I love you, there are three words in that phrase. Which and all these three words are a puzzle most of the time. Who is that I? Who is the love? What is love? And who is that you? Because many times when I say I, what do I mean? Rona? Do I mean female? Do I mean the doctor? Do I mean what? The socials, the position or the possessions? Who is this I that is loving? Or is it the being of consciousness? And then this word love. What does love really mean? Have you ever tried to define love for yourself? Does love mean you get a big bunch of red roses every day and the words I love you, and then you say, oh, yes, this person loves me? Or I get a diamond ring and I said, yes, this person loves me. Is that love? Or is love companionship, sharing of thoughts and ideas? And there is also love in different kinds of relationships. Parent child love is a different kind of love. Friendships, love among friends is a different kind of love. Love of partners is a different kind of love. Love of what? Teacher and student is another kind of love. So there are different forms of love also in terms of your feelings and your experiences. But what would be a good common denominator when we're talking about love? As if like a kind of working definition for yourself. We never really, most of us never really rationalize this. We use this word indiscriminately often, and we don't even know what we really mean by that. Oh, you don't love me. That just means they did not give me my chocolates and I wanted chocolates. Then I feel they don't love me. Is that it? Or I want to do this and they say, no, no, better you don't go there. Or parents say, no, you don't get candy. That's not good for your teeth. So then as a child, you say, Mama, you don't love me because you don't give me my candy. That is very superficial thinking of love. But most of us stay at that level in our thinking of love and our expectations. Someone who fulfills my desire, I love them. And I think they love me. But that also means when my desires are not fulfilled, I feel they don't love me. And I don't feel loved. I don't experience being loved. So when we're talking about love, we need to reflect a little bit more deeper. Going back to this example of the candy, my mother, she never used to give us candy as children. She never wanted to give us candy, and she protected us from getting candy. And we, and especially my brother, used to feel that is a nuisance. How can a mother not give candy to children? All my friends get candy, everybody get candy, even grandmother gives us candy, but mother doesn't give candy. But she always said, no, I don't want your teeth to be spoiled. And so as children, we felt this is not nice. But now, when we are middle aged and our teeth are still in good condition, we felt this was such a that is, thank you, thank you, mom. You haven't instilled this habit in us to eat sweet and to have sweet teeth, and that gave us so much fruit. So giving in to limited selfish desires is not necessarily love. She denied us our desires, but in her mind, she had the benefit of all of us in mind for the future also. So when we think about this love, this thing called love, um, part of it is thinking and acting based on what is beneficial for all involved at the moment and in the future also. That those actions will be coming from feelings of love. If that, and so when one working definition of love could be thoughts, feelings, and actions that empower and bring benefit for all involved now and in the future. And that is a much broader understanding than just give me my chocolates and you love me. And if you don't give me my chocolates, you don't love me. Actions, thoughts, and intentions and attitude that looks at a bigger picture and then responds in a way that is empowering for all involved. And if we work with that working definition, if we live our life with that definition, then quality of your interactions and quality of your uh, actions and interactions will be much higher. And there will be less childish expectations. And so this working definition where there is the word empowerment and benefit for all involved, and also now, but also future. Now, if we use this to look at this chocolate or candy story, is chocolate empowering? No. It's for yourself to decide. Is chocolate beneficial? Maybe the pure bitter chocolate, yes. But that is not what we want. Huh? Now, okay, it might give me nice feelings now, but in the future it might create problems if I get into. So actually, that would not even truly qualify as an act of love. So just to give us a bit of a sense of what we are talking about. And so to one first thing for all of us is don't use this word so lightly anymore. Really begin to deeply reflect on what truly is the meaning of this love. Yes, we all want to be loved. Yes, we all want to experience love and give love. But what is it that I'm giving? Now, and if we have to believe the advertisements on wherever the social media platform, it is easy. You just buy a gift and give. But we all know that that is not truly the real experience. It is nice to get a nice gift, it is nice to get an expensive gift, but that is not a guarantee for deeper feelings. And a gold and a diamond ring is nice and it looks nice, but empowerment, I don't know. It may empower my bank account, yes, but or my list of property, yes, but internal empowerment and self-respect and confidence and feeling loved and belonging, that doesn't happen with a diamond. Benefit now and in the future, I mean, it is a bit clearer. No? So one reason why love eludes us is because we think too superficial about it, and we have a set of ideas fixed in our head uh, about what it would look like if someone loves me. And those ideas might not necessarily be correct. Like I said, if I think that giving me a bunch of roses every day, red roses every day, is my idea of love, then everyone who doesn't bring roses for me, well, I will feel they don't love me. So our conscious or subconscious, and most of it is subconscious, definition of love, we need to reevaluate that. And this is something that we have to do consciously. Otherwise, we will always fall into this trap of expecting or maybe demanding certain things from the people around us because we feel that will show that they love me. And I might do certain things because I feel that that shows that I love them, which they might not necessarily feel like that at all. I one friend of mine, he has allergy to all kinds of flowers. So if I come with a bunch of roses for the birthday, he will just sneeze the whole day. What is that? That is your love. And if I truly believe that I will feel rejection. I'm giving silly examples, but this is how quickly we get entangled in things. And so, for yourself, deeply reevaluate your concept and your idea of love. And then these two other words, I and you. I love you. What is this I? Who is this I? And who is this you that I'm loving? When I was in university, one of the how do you call that, colleagues in study, and one of the other students, and we were like a little group that we used to study. And she would always fall in love with the brightest students in the class. The brightest students, and not necessarily character was important, not necessarily matching cultural or social circumstances. No, he had to be bright because she wanted what is it? She wanted someone with a bright future in medicine. So I used to tease her and I said, so you want to marry someone who loves you, or you want to marry, she used to say she wants to marry a neurosurgeon. So at some stage, she was kind of involved with someone who was heading in that track. And this discussion was there. What is it that you love? And who is it that you love? And I very clearly remember her saying, I love the status that comes with it. And I want that. And it may appear and sound superficial to us, or maybe even silly, but she at least was honest about it. She at least said it and she had no shame about it. But deeper insight for us, can we truly be clear about who is me and who is you and what it is that I'm loving? And from the spiritual knowledge tells us, human being, one thing that we start with is the body. Can you see well, Anita?
Yes, Sister Rona.
First thing is the body. And there are many things around the body. There are family, friends, there is maybe a job, there is a certain education, there is a financial situation, position, there are objects and possessions, maybe a house and a car, and there is a certain culture, and there is maybe a certain religion, and there may be a certain country, and there may be certain talents and skills and hobbies and music, all kinds of things. And we say, this is me. I love you. So, what is that I? Does the body love? Is something missing in this picture? Actually, this word human being is very beautiful. Human being. This is the human part of that word. Body and all the physical things and people around us. Human. But there is a being. And the being is invisible. And we use the image of light to indicate the being of consciousness. And a popular word for the being of consciousness is soul or spirit. But the one who experiences the invisible experiencer. Now, at this moment, you're hearing these words and they're coming out of this mouth. But the thoughts that are communicated, the ideas that are communicated, they do not belong to this mouth. It is not this mouth that is talking and telling you these ideas. It is the being who is using the mouth to talk. If the being is not there, this mouth can't say anything, then this body will just be a corpse. So there is this human level of us and our existence, and there is the being of consciousness, the one who is experiencing the invisible experiences. So when I say I love, who is it that is loving? It is this invisible being who's using the body and expressing through the body certain things, but the experience of love is in the being. It is not the job that is loving you, or the money that is loving you, or even the body is not loving you. It is the being that is using the body to express love. And so, now who is this being? What is this being like? This being, first of all, invisible, being of consciousness, transcending the limitations of matter. And it's the same with you. If I say, I love you, who is this you? The real you is also an invisible experience, a being of consciousness using the body. So when I say, I love you, the being, what am I loving in you? Am I loving your body? Am I loving your money? Am I loving your house? Am I loving your family and their social status and whatever? Am I loving your job? Or am I loving you? Regardless of whatever goes on here. And this is part of this elusiveness of love. First of all, we do not properly understand love and who is me and who is you. And also that love gets misdirected to something here, something here, something here. And when this changes, then my love also changes. So, for example, if I love the house that is associated with this body, that is associated with you, if I love the house, then what happens if the house, for whatever reason, has to be sold or is not there anymore? And my love also goes.
But,
Hmm?
but,
Burnt.
so my
House
love,
is burnt, so the love also burns.
yes,
And I know I'm simplifying this, but to get the concepts clear. Um, and the same is for me. And what happens also when a certain relationship of love starts, now I'll say a mother and a child, when the baby comes, mother loves. And not because the baby has a certain body or because it has a certain bank account, just loves. There is a new being coming into my life. And that love at that moment is clean and pure and just wants to protect, wants to empower, wants to give benefit. No, and so we don't doubt that love starts in that pure way, especially not in this case. But what happens? Child grows up. And say mother's love is, this is like the graphic, mother's love is so much. That pure mother's love for child is like this. When baby is born. And then gradually child grows up. And then what happens with that pure love? Any idea what happens? One thing that happens is over time, little bit of expectations gets added to it. Now mother expects the child to behave nicely in a certain way. After a while, mother expects the child to also do good at school. Mother expects the child to be in a certain way. So gradually, this pure love gets mixed with expectations and certain desires. And sometimes it even goes into demands. And so this pure love that is there, that we don't doubt, gets mixed with other motives behind. And then disillusionment can come in. and how do you call it? Disillusion and disappointment comes in. And that spoils the feeling of love, that pure feeling of love. Same happens in other forms of relationships. We sometimes give this example, say, this is this is Lily. Lily just graduated from, and she's going to university, NYU. She's going to university, and she's an art student. She has artistic bent of mind, and she likes new things, different things. So, and she's very excited coming this. She's going to study and be free from home. So one day she has this way to express her artisticity. Artisticity. One day she colors her hair red. Another day she colors it blue. Another day she colors it pink. Everybody is happy. And at the same time, here is sorry, can't draw very well. Here is John. John is, say this is 2014, the year 2014. They're both excited, coming to study. And John is an engineer study in NYU also. And they don't know each other. They meet because they're kind of in the same campus around. But and 2014 is kind of amused by this. One day blue hair, one day red hair, one day yellow hair, one day no hair. He's just amused by it. 2016, they get to know each other better. And 2020, they are married. No? She is now finished. She's a painter and an artist, and she scouts. And he is an engineer, one of these big engineering companies, and he works on the subway tunnel between Manhattan and Queens. He's and now she paints her hair blue. Will he still feel this is cute? One day he comes home hair with polka dots. Will he still be the embodiment of peace?
No.
Most probably not. And one day he comes home and he says, I have to have a working dinner with my boss, and we have to meet a client, and I have to come with my wife. So please come with me, representative. So she, all excited, paints her hair purple with white stripes and comes for the dinner. Will he be embodiment of love and embodiment of calm, peace, and balance? Most probably not. Even if he finds it cute, he might feel very uncomfortable with the people around. What has happened? 2014, he was embodiment of peace, embodiment of love. He even find it cute and interesting. 2020, what has happened?
Expectation
Very good.
has changed.
Here, he had no expectation. 2020, his expectations were there of her behavior. And I'm just giving this example. It's not anything personal, but this is what happens. It is not that his finding it interesting is not there anymore. It is not that that love that was initially growing that is not there anymore. But now there are expectations. And so this relationship has turned into a bondage. And what is another word for bondage?
Attachment.
Very good. Attachment. Another word.
Slave.
Slave.
Dependency.
Very good. All of these are good words to describe bondage. But there's one more word.
Love.
Is it love? Bondage? No, I would say jail. I am, like I said, a bit exaggerated maybe, but just to get a feel of what is happening. And no one has intention to put anyone in jail or themselves, but we just get sucked in because of not holding bigger clarity. So now, Lily decides whether John feels good or not. So John has found a prison officer. If she feels okay, if she does the right thing, he is okay. If she paints her head purple, he is sad or depressed or annoyed or whatever, discomfortable. So she now holds the key without necessarily wanting to, she holds the key to him feeling good or not. And this is what we have called love these days. It is not love, it is bondage, it is jail, it is huge expectations. And it is not because we are bad, and it is not because we don't have deeper feelings of love, but we confuse love with expectations, we confuse love with attachments, we confuse love with you do what I say, fulfilling my desires. It actually just shows us how internally not focused we are and how little uh, fullness we have inside because we are looking outward to feel full. And so, if there is inner emptiness, inner unclarity, what is it? Inner confusion, then I look towards you to give me that. And if you are also empty and you are also confused, you are also not sure, then it is two beggars. What will happen? Then there will just be more desire, and disappointment. And this is why sometimes you see certain friendships, certain interactions, certain relationships, certain intimate relationship, they start so beautiful. They start so with such a big promise. And both are good. It's not that people are bad, but we fall into this trap of attachments and expectations because we do not attend to our own inner state. We are not in touch with who we truly are and our own innate nature and our own innate qualities, and be full and complete for ourselves so that we have something to offer and to share instead of that we are demanding and expecting. And this is why this thing called love, it escapes us. Even though we might feel it, and even though we might experience it for a while, but in the long run, often it escapes us. because we build a dynamics of expectations and neediness inside that we expect and even demand or desire others to attend to. And that is really the opposite of love. Then it becomes a bondage, then it becomes a jail, then it becomes a nuisance. And when relationships move into that area, it can become very nasty and it can even become very ugly and unpleasant. And that is what we sometimes see today in the world with the huge divorce rates and so many passion crimes and uh, what is it? Domestic violence. Yeah. These are all people who at some stage said, I love you. But what has happened to that? It got buried under these expectations and desires which grow out of hand at some stage. Does it make sense? Any thoughts or questions so far? I can't see the time. So, what can we do for ourselves to begin to get a taste again of that peaceful, loving state? Spirituality and spiritual knowledge advises us first come back to true self. And this is where the practice of meditation comes in. No, uh, there is a certain spiritual knowledge and the practice of that knowledge to refine again your sense of perception, to refine your mind again, and to get into that awareness of the real self as a spiritual being, a being of consciousness, a being with innate higher qualities, and begin to experience again that freedom, that peace, that quiet, that kindness that is innate to our nature. On a regular basis, remind the self and to create a practice of silent reflection, of silent time where you, as if become consciously come into that awareness of the self as a soul. And practice that regularly, and it will open up and it will become more clear all the possibilities of the true self and the qualities of the higher self. And you will naturally start appreciating the true self. More you get a taste of that benevolent nature of who we truly are. The truth of each one of us is beautiful, but we have not seen ourselves for a long time. I'm what is it? Generalizing. Of course, individuals are different in their practices, but generally, the world hasn't paid attention to the real self, the spiritual being that we are. Much of the world doesn't even believe, maybe, that of the existence of the being who transcends the physical. But all our focus is on this. But all of this is temporary and can change anytime. So if our love is directed towards these things, it will always be fluctuating. Anything can happen anytime. If I love someone for their physical appearance, how they look, and nothing wrong with good looks and nothing wrong with a healthy body. But if that is the object of my love, then what will happen after 20, 30 years when weight goes up, gray hair comes, and rimples come, wrinkles come, then my love disappears. But if my love is for the being, it becomes a whole different thing. Okay. Any thoughts or comments so far?
Okay, may I ask? So, who wants to be laughed, and who wants to laugh?
Hmm.
But this invisible being, who we are love.
Yes.
So, the relation between people are for what purpose? To show them that what they are searching with other is in you.
Hmm. That is one reason. But to interact there, to share, to have certain goals in common, to work together, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it is not coming from a begging perspective. Yeah, but very true. Why should we interact at this moment in time? Definitely, one of the main reasons should be to bring out the best in self and others. That is the purpose of a relationship. The real purpose, that is another thing we need to redefine for ourselves. What is the purpose of a relationship? But one definition that I personally find useful is an interaction, a relationship where the best in both parties is brought out. Best in on all levels, no? Best in terms of their nature, but also best in terms of their talents, best in terms of their skills, best in terms of their interests. So sometimes certain relationships can be so toxic or so uh, uh, um, restrictive that someone has a certain talent or a certain interest, but the partner is not allowing that to be pursued or to be expressed, and for whatever reason, some ego or some attachment or some anxiety or some insecurity, um, we block each other. One one young man one time told me, "Oh, Rona, but I love it when my girlfriend tells me, I love you, I love you. Please don't go anywhere. Come sit here with me every night. I can't be without you. Please don't go anywhere." I like it when she tells me that. After 6 months, he says, "She's suffocating me. She's suffocating me." I said, "I thought you liked it." She's suffocating me. I can't go to my football. I can't be with my friends. I can't do this. I said, "But I thought you like it." So, what liked that attention? Is the ego within him liked that attention? "Oh, I can't live without you. Please, I can't sleep if you are not here." But after a while, this becomes a jail. Because one day she says, "Please stay." Tomorrow she will say, "You stay. You're not going anywhere." It doesn't become a nice chat anymore. Then it becomes an expectation and a demand. And then it becomes a jail. Now, are relationships meant to be jail? Are relationships meant to be bondages? No. But our spiritual condition at this moment in time, worldwide, is such that we put ourselves in jail and we put others in jail, and we call it love. And we say, if you love me, then you will do this. It's become a big trap. So relations, nothing wrong with relationship in itself, as long as the individuals are clean and clean. And that is where we have failed. We haven't paid much attention to ourselves. And then whatever we think we need, we want others to give us. But they have their own life. Even if they're my partner, they're not responsible for my happiness and my inner health. That is my responsibility. And again, I want to stress, now it is not because people are bad. We are not bad innately. And it is not that there is no pure love. It is not that we do not have that ability to love. We are beings of love innately. But it has become blocked. And then we want outside. And we want from others. And they can give if they have, if they are in a good frame of mind. But how long?
And one more, may I say?
Someone else also wanted to say, I think.
I had one question, Sister Om Shanti. I don't know if this is something you can speak on, but it said that Radha and Krishna were not married. Their love was very transcendental and pure. And then he did marry out of duty. So the question that I have, based on that, arranged marriage seemed to have much more structure and stability. It was more of a duty, brother and sister type of bonding. And then we've moved on to love marriage, which whatever that is. But I think all of those issues you've come up with, the divorce and marriage are so exclusive. So I just was wondering, maybe you could talk about duty versus love in that context, that historical context.
Yeah, to really go in depth, that would require a bit of a different session. But there can be different motivations for certain relationships, also for marriages. But having said that, even the so-called arranged marriages these days are not, what is it? Are not always of the best quality. And so the idea of a marriage out of a certain duty or a certain sense of dharma, the concept is nice and good, but also in that degradation has taken place, because I know of many relationships of many marriages that were arranged but that ended very unpleasant, and maybe not end, their ongoing misery for people. So arranged marriage in itself is not a guarantee for a good quality marriage or a good quality relationship. There are other factors involved. But I agree that with what we today call love marriages, especially in the context of cultures where arranged marriage versus love marriages, that is also not the solution, because then it just becomes fulfillment of my desires and huge expectations, which becomes the same trap sooner or later. Okay. Christina, you wanted to say something else?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll do a short meditation now, and then I'll give some reflection exercises for each one. Yeah. And in those reflection exercises, you can take a little break. Because 2 hours sitting, I was told, is too much for many. Okay, let's have a few moments. And we'll just take it simple, basic. Let the body be comfortable. Take a deep breath. And just become aware of this present moment, here and now. Become aware of the position of the body. And make sure that the feet are flat on the ground. Relax the hands. Relax the shoulders and the neck. And you can keep your eyes open or closed, whichever you want. Feel free, but it not necessarily has to be closed. Become aware of the heartbeat. And how on inspiration, air is pulled into the lungs. And on expiration, air is pushed out of the lungs. Just be aware of the different bodily sensations and consciously let the body relax. And now also become aware that there is one who is experiencing all these bodily sensations. There is one who is experiencing and creating thoughts and having feelings. The invisible experiencer. And to help focus, we use the image of a tiny star to indicate this inner self, consciousness. The one who is using the eyes to see, one who is using the mouth to speak, using the ears to hear, is this inner being, being of light. This being is a guest in this body, a guest on this planet, free. And we just come back to this awareness of the true self, the soul, as a being of light. innately loving, innately peaceful. Free. And if possible, just hold this image in the mind of this tiny star of serene, pure light with a bit of a sense of that is the real self, the soul. Innately pure, innately peaceful. Thank you. Loving the self, one act of loving the self, and true love would be to do something like this regularly, at least once or twice a day. Just calm down and get into that awareness consciously. Yes, there is this body. Yes, there are so many things around and all kind of thing going on. But who is the experiencer? Let me get back into that awareness and that experience, that original experience of the true self. And if you love someone else, then you will, whenever it is appropriate, inspire them to also come back to that true self at a regular basis. Okay, so I'll give a topic for your reflections. So if you want to write it down or if you want to remember, that's fine. So one is make a working definition for yourself for love and relationships. One that you can for yourself work with and that you kind of check for yourself also. A working definition of love and a working definition of relationships. For yourself, not theoretically for the government or something, but for yourself, what you can apply. And second thing to reflect on for yourself is what breaks love in myself. Why does it break? Because we all have, no, and we all know certain relationships. We have pure feelings for someone or something. And after a while, it is not like that anymore. Why does it break? What happens? Is my vision of that person changed? Why? No, what has happened? I have a friend, for example. She's a very nice and brilliant girl. And when we first became friends, my vision of her was so high. And then I got to know certain habits. And every time I see her, that habit comes in my mind. I don't hold that vision of greatness that in the beginning I used to hold all the time. And so now, every time when I meet, I prepare myself. Look, all those good things are still there. You use that when you see her. And so that love doesn't break. Everybody has some habits that are whatever. Why do I let that over what is it? Bury all the good. Now, this is for me. I'm giving my own example. So for yourself, check what is it that breaks your love? My expectations or my this or my that, so that you kind of get a more clearer look at what are your dynamics. And three is how can you avoid that? Find practical, simple methods to avoid that. Keep that vision of greatness. Like I said, no, when marriages start, they all say I love you, I love you. After 2 years, they are all kinds of other feelings. What has happened? And how can I avoid falling in that trap? Now, one time a couple came and they always fight. They're telling me both of them fight. So I asked them, why do they fight? They fight because he doesn't put the top of the what is it, the toothpaste back. So every morning he takes it off, and then she finds it without top on the toothpaste, and that becomes the fight and spoils the whole day for them both. Every day for months, and it even almost it became verbally abusive and sometimes even physically. That because, and we lose track of what is really important, and we get so entangled in silly little things. So catch yourself beforehand.
Sister Rona, can you please repeat the third reflection point?
Method to avoid. And so the second was what breaks your feelings of love, and third is methods. Find methods for yourself to avoid. No, one. Uh, what is it? Panacea, you could say panacea for this is practice meditation, of course, practice soul consciousness, because but find also other little things, but definitely, of course, the regular practice of accurate proper meditation will definitely help in this. But there are many other little methods. Yeah. So we will have 20 minutes. You get, and in those 20 minutes, take your break also. If you need to go sanitary or stretch or whatever, take your break. Yeah. So we will meet again, same place in 20 minutes. Put the speaker on. Okay, welcome back. Hope you have had some deep discussion with yourself on this deep topic. Anyone would like to share some of the insights? Don't have to, but we can enlighten each other. Anita, you want to say something?
Yeah, but I was waiting if somebody wants to go first. One of the things which I realized that actually never thought on the definition of love, um, like giving a special individual time and attention to understand what is the definition of love for myself. And that was a surprising realization. I'm like, wow. The reason for that is I'm one person who end up saying, I love you to so many people who are in touch with me, my friends and my family. And the definition I came up with is that I genuinely care for them, and whatever I want to do or say to them is for to empower them and for their benefit. That's my genuine feeling, and that's why it naturally comes out of mouth that I love you. There's no plan for it or anything, but when we are talking, and by the time conversation is about to end, it just flows out of my mouth. So that was a huge realization. And then, of course, the what breaks it right from myself. I think when I get attached with the idea that I am right, and then you start putting all effort and it.
Maybe the speaker, the what is it? Split screen.
Um, how do I do that? Suddenly, I don't remember how to do split screen. My focus was on the thoughts.
Just leave it. Continue with your flow of thought.
No, I think I know how to do. Yes. No.
For this interruption.
I no, sorry, Sister Rona, I'm just not recollecting how to do that. So the reason it breaks for me is that I get I attach to the idea that I am right, unintentionally though, but it does happen. And then the energy goes into trying to convince the other person that my idea is right. At least I know started noticing with my children, I immediately stop whenever it start turning into an argument. When they don't agree, I just stop and take a step back, and that time I don't say anything, I just listen to them. And then later on I will reflect, and then whatever comes to mind, then I will share when there's a next conversation, or I text them, which they started getting annoyed. They've been saying, Mom, don't text us. But that's the point where it breaks. And the method to prevent it, of course, is just like I shared, you stop talking and just check yourself. Am I attaching expectation with it? Because that's one of the reason it just breaks. So,
Very good.
thank you. It was very useful exercise.
This is a big part, no, of why love breaks. Is ego of I am right.
Yeah.
You have to do what I tell you.
Yeah. Like you were sharing that example of couples, right? That they are arguing about the small thing that they do not put the cap, the husband doesn't put the cap back on the toothpaste. And one of the things which I tell my children is that just tell me where you are and when you come back. And they feel like it's so binding, and I feel it's right. I just need to know you are safe, you're okay. And I was reflecting on that, and I'm like, maybe because that does bring arguments, that I have to literally drop that and change it completely. And maybe then they will start telling me that, Mom, we are here and we are okay.
They're not 5 years.
Yeah, but Sister Ona, the word is so vicious and unpredictable, right? So
They're
that
not
protective
5 years.
instinct, I'm sorry,
They're not 5 years old.
agreed. So I have to change that. I was realizing that that's one thing which brings argument between children and I. So,
Someone will raise the hand, please. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes, Om Shanti sister. I really want to thank you for your drawing. That actually was what it made me realize that the answers were so wonderfully. Your questions led to such nice answers with internally. So I can share briefly. I think the the definition of love based on your pictures is not to be infatuated. Our infatuation draws upon vanity. It draws upon all these sins and non-virtuous behaviors. So I think that's the key, to center yourself. If you see someone beautiful, just imagine they're not beautiful, because that's temporal. It's changing. It will change. It's already transformed. The butterfly is already not a butterfly, or the cocoon, that the transient nature of things. So I loved your picture. That really helped me. I'll always forget that. Remember that. That's great. The second answer was, what breaks my love is body consciousness. When I get lost in the Maya, the illusion that this is mine, that I'm experiencing this. And as I said, that infatuation, I think when we experience the world with the step first connected inward or to the higher power, then we realize we're just an observer. We're going through this like Netflix. If you get excited for Netflix, that's your problem. That's you're a step away. This has all happened before. This has been here. Be stable. And then the last thing is, find methods to avoid to be in that situation. Meditation and continuing participating with BK. Thank you.
Yeah. Very good. Now, the thing is, if we love a beautiful body, then what happens if that body is not beautiful anymore? Then love goes. True love is not dependent on that. And that was the point. Nothing wrong with a beautiful body, but also know that all those things are temporary and changing. And love is not based on those things that are unpredictable and unpredictably changing. Anyone else would like to say anything? No, don't have to.
Om Shanti, sister. I'm not sure if I have a definition of love anymore. I've
Confused you now.
I've deconstructed my old understanding of love, which was about sacrificing myself for someone else. Yeah, overly extending myself and disregarding my own self-care. So I'm not sure exactly what love is now, but I kind of think it has to do with just unconditional compassion, understanding, forgiveness. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't have a definition, but it's funny that I can say what and break what I don't have a definition for. And that is, I think, when it comes to me feeling separated from the person or even maybe the world, with when I began to be defensive of myself and my own safety and self and well-being. So I guess fear of not being protected and preserved can break what love, which I can't even define, which is so funny to me. But the way I avoid it is, thankfully, with BK, is just to see everyone as a soul, as an actor, as just playing their part, and it's about how I respond to what I'm perceiving is coming from them, and I have to be fearful. So I guess just being in balance with myself, keeping my tools sharp, and just remembering who I am, and staying in the remembrance of God. So that's a lot to say that I don't know. I don't have a definition.
It's okay. Anyone else would like to share? One big uh, breaker, of any feeling of harmony and feeling of cooperation, uh, whether it is this love, but also just cooperation and good feelings or kindness. Any big breaker of that is ego, arrogance and ego. Just to observe. It was so nice, Anita saying that I am right. And we even may be right, but that right becomes a reason to break a relationship. How silly, you know. Yeah. And it is so funny, that there is this deep longing in almost everyone, if not everyone, for love. Yet we have developed so many mechanisms that breaks that. It shows that we really, really, really need to come back to reset, come back to self and essence. Because can you truly long for something that you don't know? That's not possible. So, for example, a fish, its natural habitat is water. So it feels most comfortable in water. You take it out of water, it tries every means to get back into the water because that is where it as if it flourishes and it feels most comfortable. So, in the same way, for the human soul to be in an environment of love and to be in energy of love, it is natural. But we have moved away from that. For whatever reason, ignorance and wanting to be right and ego, we have moved out of that. And we are longing to get back there. We're trying to do all kinds of things, but we might not be doing the right thing. We might be overlooking uh, the real factors. Because it is natural for the soul to be in peace, to be loving, to feel secure. But we have moved away from the understanding of who we truly are, and we gotten stuck in the world uh, of things and matter that is temporary, and to come back to the true self and to explore that dimension of the soul. That would be like a good step in the right direction to get back to that pure love, get back in the water, like that fish who was out of water.
Sister Rona, we have one more person who wants to say something.
Go ahead.
Sahil, you have your hand raised. You can unmute yourself and talk.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Sister Rona. Thank you for such a beautiful morning with your soft voice of compassion and talking about a topic that uh, gives a lot of us, a lot of the time, lots of beauty and peace, and a lot of times the exact opposite as well.
Yeah.
Um, I had a question. I, I I found that through my journey, specifically on relationship love or significant other love. Um, so I'm single. I've been married once, and I don't think historically I've found what my soul is seeking because I don't think I was aware that my soul existed and what it was looking for. Um, I think over the last 6 months, 9 months, I think there's been a large evolution, and I feel very positive about it. My question was almost reverse, where I believe before my definition of love was unknown. I believe right now a lot of what you say resonates, specifically the one line about, no egos, no expectations, but to love is to give. Um, and from a soulful level, if you strip the body, strip the eyes, strip the you, and if you just close your eyes, if your soul just wants to give, um, that to me at least that becomes a very a pure and natural essence of that's love, where your heart is just open. um and my question is really when you work on yourself and kind of feel that connection with the soul and with the world around you, it almost becomes a beautiful place where um and so in the kind of world that we live in, when you are looking for possibly a collaborative life with one particular person, um if you start feeling this positive energy with many around you, then and if you feel that definition is right, and if you feel it is a true essence of soulful love that you just have for people, um how does one maybe pause and reflect that this is the where one can settle down, versus I can feel this with person A. I want to give, and also B, and also C, irrespective of age or type or background. Like, then how do you judge that? Because it's a good place to be in, but I wouldn't want to confuse that.
Yeah. Uh, it all bit depends on your purpose and what you define as your aim in life. No? And and then those matching with your aim, that is what you will choose. Those are the ones you will choose to be your friends, or those you will choose to be even closer than friends with you, and definitely in sense of a companion and a life companion and a life partner. Then there has to be aim. Aim has to be aligned. Per sense of purpose has to be aligned. But first, it has to be clear for yourself what your sense of purpose is. What is, for me, for to give my own example, um, my life is for service, and my life is for spiritual service. And I have chosen that path, and I have only grown deeper and deeper in that path. And so that purpose brings a certain lifestyle with it. And those who are aligned with that lifestyle, they will be my friends and they will be my companions on that path. Those who are not aligned with that, I can still love them, I can still respect them, and I can still interact with them. But they will not be my close friends or my daily companions or people who are around me most of the time. And in my case, I have chosen to live a life without marriage because my life and my lifestyle doesn't really allow uh, uh, that. And I felt this is a time the world doesn't need, in my perspective and in my case, the world doesn't need another mother, but the world does need spiritual wisdom. The world does need spiritual upliftment. And I would like to use my life to contribute to that for myself, first of all, but for others around. And so that has become my sense of purpose. So those who accompany me or who I choose as companions, they have to be aligned with that. Their purpose and their sense of aim should be aligned with that. So that is how I think everyone sensibly could take a decision. Don't choose someone who, if you have a certain principle or have a certain perspective, then it won't help if there's someone else there who has the completely opposite. Because if
Sure.
you break your dreams, if you break your principles, that is not love. And that relationship there will always be carrying certain stain in it. I don't know if that helps, but
It does actually. It does quite a lot. Because from what I'm hearing, you're saying align with your purpose. So it's almost now thinking and using your mind. Maybe in this soulful journey, I've been trying to use less of that and just go more with how your soul gravitates.
yeah,
And maybe the challenge I was saying is soul gravitate towards many when you actually open up with love. And what you're guiding towards is, if you're at that space or when you come to that space, then to now use the mind again to actually connect with life purpose, mission, goals, and
yeah.
that sense.
Love is good, but love should never be without wisdom. Love without sense can even be dangerous. So, yes, definitely. Combination.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other final thoughts? I think time. We only have 2 more minutes. Let's use these 2 minutes for some meditation and some silence.
Sister Ona, before we go into meditation, may I make one announcement? Because I don't want to break the peace. This session has been streamed on YouTube, so it is available for anyone who wants to listen to it again. You just search it with the name, and maybe with Brahma Kumaris or Manhattan, just to kind of qualify it more, so you can watch it.
But also we have a YouTube channel, no? So if you are interested,
Yeah.
you can always subscribe and then you'll get updated of the new postings.
Yes.
Okay. So let's again just take a few moments and completely relax. And remind yourself of your existence at a non-physical level. There is the body, and we appreciate the body as a wonderful vehicle, and there are all kinds of things around. But the real self is this inner being of consciousness. Like a tiny star operating from the center of the forehead just behind the eyes. silent, still, serene, living being of light. Like a star, but a living star. A being who is free, innately divine. Timeless, innocent, childlike, and innately godlike. And just immerse the mind in this awareness of the self as this living star, the soul. And as we gradually come to the end of this meditation exercise, we acknowledge for ourselves the beauty and the truth of the real self as the spiritual being, and kind of an acknowledgement and appreciation for the true self, the soul. And with that appreciation and that acknowledgement, let us aim to hold that for the rest of our journey and aim to come back again to this deeper reflections and deeper sense of self-awareness. That would be loving the self. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. For those who don't know, we have regular Thursday evening lectures, and there is a meditation course coming up in a retreat type of format at the end of the month. So if you have interest, most welcome. And we will maybe meet again, either through Zoom or in person. Thank you.
Shanti.
Rona. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.